And trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
Why never do it again?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, along here with Beau. And today we're going to be... Wait, not just Beau today.
New timeline, I'm here.
Nice. He tied it in.
Yeah.
He tied it into the
Sylvie
show.
really did fuck it up, huh?
Yeah, she
Wow. What have you done? This is worse than Kang.
Yes.
Getting me back on this?
Yeah.
That's rude.
No, I'm joking.
Would have been nice if it was Marissa, but we'll settle for Ted.
Is that why I'm here? She canceled?
No, that's the... That's the perfect timeline. This is the...
It's the alternate universe
Yeah.
timeline.
Yeah, back to discuss Loki, season finale. Season 2 in the works, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. What do you guys think of the finale?
Ted, you want to start?
I'm very happy that they like wrapped up the season nicely. You know, like, season 2 is gonna be its own thing. Like, they answered all the questions in this one. I did like where they went. This season, this was very cosmic. It was a lot more cosmic than I thought it was gonna be. The visuals were amazing in this. The acting was great.
The visuals really were amazing. That's something that we haven't really commented on episode to episode. It looks incredible.
The score was great.
Yeah,
Cinematography really captured a lot of the different areas they were in, especially within the TVA, just the different angles they showed while in that place. It gave it a lot of life, and I think that was very consistent throughout the series. But, I mean, going into this finale, we got him. Well, a version of him. Kang the Conqueror.
Yes, we did.
He comes in, says, "What are you disappointed?" A little meta. But I was not disappointed. And obviously with this, all the variants and the way he described it, this isn't going to be the Kang the Conqueror, the big bad of maybe the next few movies. But if Jonathan Majors brings the same energy to he did with this version as the Big Daddy Kang, then I think it's a great casting, and I can't wait to see more of him.
Just his mannerisms in here just showed what he can be. And he was very good, very convincing.
Wacky scientist vibes.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's basically the 31st century Tony Stark when it comes to a lot of these things that he does. So
his story was that, I forget what year it was. He figured
31st century.
2016.
But he figured out that there's different multiverses. Is that what happened?
Yeah, kind of the many worlds theory, that he found that worlds were sitting on top of each other, and all of his other variants discovered it at the same exact time. So they all just met up and thought, aren't we awesome? What's that over there? You got some new tech? Let me get that tech.
That's hilarious. How he said, like, it's a bit narcissistic, like saying, "Hey, you look good like this," and like that's kind of
like your nose.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Loki. We talked about his narcissism falling, and the only person he could ever fall in love with was a version of himself. But
this Kang,
oh my god, I love that part when Mobius said that to him. That was so funny. That's actually one thing I did like about this show was it wasn't a lot of comedy, and when there was comedy, it was funny.
Oh yeah, I mean the dynamic between. Well, that's the thing. You haven't spoken at all about Loki, right? Yeah, no. You haven't been on any of the reviews. So I imagine you loved Owen Wilson in this, right?
Yes, I did love him.
Yeah.
I was very upset to see him go when they first probed him. But prune. Hold
him back.
Yeah. when we got them all back, I was very happy. And that he's going to be in season 2 is great.
I was fucking sad, though, when he didn't recognize him. Like,
oh my God.
You guys spent the whole season building each other up.
Felt the same way, man. I loved where they were when they left off, and now it's just like they're all starting from scratch again.
It reminded me of Twin Peaks: The Return. What year is this? It was unnerving. Because he keeps trying to explain, and Mobius is like, "Can we get a squad up here? Take care of this guy."
Who are you? Okay,
you're pretty good looking, actually. And then he sees the statue of Kang the Conqueror. I think that it's one of the best endings for any MCU project, without a doubt. I don't think it was a perfect episode, because I think a lot of it was exposition, and they kind of get away with it because I wanted to know all of this information. Mm-hmm. I also think there's a better way to shoot dialogue. I think that they could have done that better. But overall, it was just a mind-blowing finale when you think about all the possibilities. And they still managed to wrap up this personal story of Loki and Sylvie. And obviously, it's probably going to continue in season 2. But the way that they ended their arcs here, I was very satisfied with that.
Did you guys get scared when Miss Minutes popped up?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, she was. I thought this was going to be the reveal. Like, Miss Minutes is a psycho.
I was about to say, no way. She's been cooking all this up.
Yeah.
This has all been her.
She's eerie. She's got an eerie vibe to her. I've never been attracted to her. I don't know what the hell's going on the internet, but Aaron's over there clicking away.
Did you guys Is it me, or were the stakes in this episode extremely high, and it seemed like it was like nothing?
Well,
Like nothing happened.
She ruined the timeline. Everything's fucked now.
She literally said, Kang said, if you kill me, pretty much the world's ending. Or you guys can take over and status quo.
Well, that's the
And
thing we were talking.
She chose violence.
That's what we were talking about leading up to this episode, and especially with a lot of people's reactions to trying to figure out who is actually controlling things and stopping them. It's kind of like, well, if you do that, that's just going to cause chaos, because it's maybe, arguably, depending on the logistics of it all, I can't begin to understand it, but I'm assuming that you could spin it, and which Kang did spin it as a necessary evil. And that's why I was so surprised when Mobius was just so on board with taking it down. It's like, well, you spent your whole life protecting the timeline. You know what's going to happen if you do it. And you're just going to cause chaos anyway.
Yeah, the choices here, the moral choices here are not black and white. It is very gray, because from Mobius's perspective, he feels like he's been used, so right away he wants to get revenge on the TVA. And that was Sylvie's whole arc. And Renslayer, I'm not even sure what she's going to do. It looked like vengeance for a time, but now it's something totally different, I assume. But yeah, there were no easy choices, and we see that with, the exchange that Loki and Sylvie have at the end, which was kind of heartbreaking when he admits that he can't be trusted and she's not able to trust. And Loki shows some growth here by believing Kang and saying, hey, this is probably the right thing to do, like you said, a necessary evil. And Sylvie can't see it that way because she's just so fueled by her vengeance. Mm-hmm. So it was heartbreaking for both of these characters. Obviously, Loki getting sent away and seeing the Kang statue, and Sylvie realizing, oh my God, I messed up. I'm probably worse than Star-Lord at this point. That was the big debate brewing on Twitter.
But did it make it... Did this whole season, with what Sylvie did it make her whole arc pointless because she didn't really grow? She just stayed the same?
Well, no, I think an arc can be, it's
trying and failing,
right? Yeah, that there's really nothing. I mean, obviously they could have taken that deal at the beginning. Maybe that would have been the best scenario for them, right? Yeah. Just ignorance is bliss. Just go back on living whatever destiny Kang has written for you.
She did hit him with some good ones.
It's tragic. It's not obviously not just like Daenerys, but it's a similar arc to that, where she starts out as good and the world has thrown her around so much that she can't help but make this decision. She feels like it's the only decision she can make, and that's tragic for a character like that.
Yeah.
And we're going to see the personal repercussions in season 2. Like I said, I hope they come back together and in some way or fashion. I imagine they'll start the season in different places and then end up maybe in the middle of the season or towards the end getting back together. But Loki is now confirmed to appear in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so
and the next 3 movies, Multiverse of Madness, the Spider-Man movie, and Quantumania, you imagine they're all going to tie together. That we may see versions of Kang, different versions of Kang all throughout. So what's going to happen in between Loki season 1 and Loki season 2? But to go back to your point, I think Sylvie's arc was pretty much perfect in this show.
What's next right now in MCU timeline? What If and Shang-Chi, right? I think those 2 are next coming up.
Yes. So, well, What If... I don't know.
It's not tied into this.
It can be now with all the different variants.
It can be. Yeah, these what ifs can be like results of
super
what
canon.
Happened. Yeah.
So,
and what's the next one? Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi looks like it's going to be more of an introduction to that character. Who knows when it's going to be set? Because they can play around with that as well. But the next one you imagine that will connect into Loki would be
Doctor Strange?
Spider-Man. Spider-Man coming out in December. Doctor Strange is 2022.
I liked how they didn't go too deep in like determinism, free will, and all that stuff. I think there's been a recent surge back into like delving into those themes and those and everything like that entails. What like makes you really think about like free will and changes your whole perspective on life, sleepless nights and all that. I like how they didn't get too much into that to kind of keep my mind at ease. But the way they focus more on, they use that as a backdrop to focus more on the characters rather than, I guess, flooding the narrative too much of all of that. Because I am getting kind of sick of that. We just had Devs and Westworlds kind of tackle similar themes when it comes to those. So. And I didn't expect the MCU to do a deep dive into agency, so. But I like how that was like a backdrop. They gave like a dumbed down version, but an easier digestible version for people to really accept it, but focus more on the characters rather than focus on these big thought-provoking themes.
Yeah, like the free will wasn't the main point
Right, it's
of
meant
their show.
it was there because it tied more into Loki and his destiny rather than a lot of the other things surrounding it. It was more focused on these two characters, well, these one characters, different variances of it, and they use that as development rather than kind of doing it in a confusing way to try to over-explain the multiverse and outside factors.
The way they tackled responsibility and morality to me was interesting. I think that was kind of the free will angle here, is that you can't really hold people responsible for some of their actions, that there has to be a bigger picture to it. And we see it with Sylvie, with her decision at the end. You know, everyone's going to blame her time and time again for destroying the world, but can we really bear her the responsibility of that when we've seen what's happened to her, when we see what Kang has done with the TVA? So that was interesting to me. And like you said, it wasn't too deep.
But think about it. She's a Loki. She's fulfilling her destiny. She was like meant to do this.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those things where because of what they did to her, she falls back into those traps.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't have that wiggle room to get out of it, like we saw with our Loki, where he is able to change and he still fails in the end. I did appreciate the way that they explained how Kang could know everything and how he was setting everything up. It wasn't too confusing. It wasn't that mind-numbing. It was simple. I mean, I really haven't thought too much about it because I don't want to turn my brain into a pretzel. But I think all that stuff was done neatly. And it opens up the avenues for the multiverse in these other movies without it becoming too crazy. And I mentioned this on a few reviews back. I love the idea of infinity when it comes to time. That the world isn't linear. It is always just everything is happening at the same time. And I think that this show kind of captured that idea just as well as a show like Dark did. And Jonathan Majors' performance, I just wanted to point this out. He does give off the impression of someone who's become unhinged because of spending so much time in solitary confinement.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if I had absolute power, like, I want to just live in
With Miss Minutes.
Yeah, actually.
Maybe.
Yeah, what do you mean? That's your absolute fantasy. End of time, just me and...
Point revoked.
I want to go back, and you can't put that L on Loki.
Which Loki? Sylvie?
Our Loki.
No, definitely not.
You was trying. I think that was the best part of the episode, is them fighting and him trying to convince her to listen to him.
I thought he had her.
People didn't want to see the kiss, but the kiss was used well.
As a
decoy.
Yeah. I like when he said, he's like, you can't trust anybody and I can't be trusted.
Right, that was the love is persevering line for this show. That's the line that's always we're going to call back to. That perfectly captures the dilemma had between these two characters.
And that's what I was going to when I was talking about how they used free will as a way to develop the characters, seeing that to show that Loki's, it's not that they can't change, is they're not given an opportunity to change. When given that opportunity, there is good and there is something more to them than what, quote unquote, their path is.
Right.
So
yeah, Kang very much has been robbing them of that wiggle room for them to make those changes.
Is he doing this though? He's the one making these decisions for everyone, or he just knows what's going to happen with everyone's destiny? Like, is it up to him?
Well,
is he choosing our Loki's destiny and Sylvie's destiny and everyone else for that matter?
Seems he's writing everything. I imagine that he had some notes to go off of based on the timeline existing before he was even born, because he said he's from the future. So I imagine that some version of these events did happen, and he wrote the sacred timeline to kind of just keep all these events happening in a orderly fashion.
Yeah.
So that other branches can't be branched out, and so that there isn't this chaos where eventually the world gets to the 31st century and all the Kangs converge on all of the timelines and there's this multiversal war. So Miss Minutes wasn't lying about that in the beginning. It was a version of the truth. So, like, I don't know if Kang is sitting in the room thinking, like, we got to get Favreau for Iron Man 2. And he obviously, that was an off day for Kang. But when he was writing Infinity War, he was just in the complete zone, like SpongeBob writing That's his masterpiece. It's also something that you don't want to think too far into.
I think Miss Minutes is like, we're supposed to be like
Feige.
He's basically a stand-in for Feige. That's what someone guessed was going to be the...
Miss Minutes like, hey, letting Thanos get the Infinity Stone, it's going to really cause chaos in the main timeline. It's like, yeah, but it's going to be fucking sweet.
Yeah. He's going to have so many great one-liners.
Yeah.
He's going to be spitting philosophy on him. And Doctor Strange seeing all those different versions of the timeline, Kang's like, they ain't never gonna happen. Not on my watch.
Damn,
So you can now view the first, I guess, Infinity Saga as written by Kang.
Yeah.
He had a ghostwriter.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a writer's room. There's no way he did it. He's not Tyler Perry. Come on.
It's him, Miss Minute, Ravana. You know what? I didn't feel a personal connection to Ravana. I thought she could have been better.
They could have done more with that character because she is very important. They give her a lot of screen time. They obviously send her off on this mission. Miss Minutes gives her some information that comes directly from Kang, and she tells Mobius that she's in search of free will. So they very much keep her motivations ambiguous. We don't
She might have
really
a bigger
know.
role in season 2, I guess. Then.
Good
Hopefully.
actor,
Yeah.
an interesting character, but you also didn't feel anything with the relationship she had with Mobius. When she says, "You betrayed me," no, you betrayed me. They kind of just felt like colleagues, not buddies. That was a good scene when B-15 brings them back to show the other TVA agents who she truly was. So it's
I was surprised that agent understood everything right there, too.
yeah,
just
click
got
for
hit.
him right away.
Yeah.
There was a couple moments in this show where things click rather quickly to move the plot along, but I don't really mind that.
No.
I think B-15 was an interesting character. I'd like to see her come back in some respect, or maybe these former agents of the TVA become a fighting force of some sort. I don't know.
You know what's funny is, now that I'm thinking about it, throughout this whole season, I think Loki has had 6 moments that defined him, or where we thought it was going to be a character change for him. You know what I mean? And then he gets hit with the last one. It was just every episode was a next step for Loki.
What did you
Or
think
our
about the variant Lokis when they got sent to the...
Oh my god, that was hilarious. I love future Loki.
Yeah.
He's a problem. And yeah, that part when they all went into their bunker, and I guess the
Boastful
president
Loki?
the president Loki
Yeah.
got turned on by his team. He freaked out. That was so funny. It's just like Loki saw what he does time and time again to people.
Yeah, he's kind of getting sick of himself.
Yeah, he is.
I was disappointed though. No post credit. I think this is the first.
2 in a row, no post credit scene.
Other than Infinity War and Endgame, right? This is the first other one that hasn't gotten a post credit after it all was done.
Yeah.
We got one mid-season.
I enjoyed it because the credits hit me like a ton of bricks. I just wasn't expecting it to end that abruptly, but I wasn't dissatisfied with the abrupt ending, going to the credits, which I absolutely love.
Well, I just saw a tweet that said, "Oh my god, that post-credit scene."
Well, instantly I started fast forwarding. I thought,
Yeah.
"Where's Spider-Man? Where's Spider-Man? Where's Spider-Man?"
Dude,
Where's Tobey Maguire?
The intro for Loki and the end credit scene for Loki is very eerie.
Yes.
It's like a Halloween. It's like Halloween-y. It's sick.
Yeah.
I love it.
Definitely. It's the title card is really cool. The way that the way that they designed it. I want to mention, you said that classic Loki was your favorite. It's amazing what this show is able to do with him only appearing in an episode and he steals the show. Him only appearing in one episode and he steals the show. And now the same thing with Jonathan Majors as Kang. He was the best part about that episode. He couldn't take his eyes. I started laughing out loud when he finishes his rundown and he's, "Amen." You're welcome. I thought that was so funny. The comedy was great. He was unhinged. Clearly, he spent too much time there. And I'm a big Kang the Conqueror guy. It's just like with Thanos, where I don't know who I'm going to be rooting for. The Avengers have a lot of shit on their hands.
I mean,
with
this
guy.
Kang at least seems to.
And that's the thing. He's the
good
like
Kang.
he's like the moderate Kang. He's the John McCain of Kangs. Wait until we get to Ted Cruz.
But he tells Sylvie to grow up. She's done worse shit. And it's what he's doing, he's capturing people, but he's not torturing them. He suppresses their memories, and it's not like they don't know that they have a life before this, but they're doing good though. Yeah,
it's like if Kang didn't exist, bad things still happen,
Exactly.
right? It's just the bad things that he
you always hate the
deems.
dictator.
If something bad happens in my life, I want to be responsible. I don't need someone pulling the strings for me.
Yeah.
I want to fuck it up myself.
No, that always scares people, this idea of a boogeyman out there is pulling the strings.
I would actually be relieved.
That's what Mobius was saying.
I'm fine. I just have no other choice.
Yeah. Well, that's why people don't like the idea of determinism, because they don't want to believe that their lives are being controlled by whatever it is. And in this case, it's...
I already said in devs, I 100% believe in it.
and in this case, it's just a wacky scientist from the 31st century.
Is Kang the Conqueror known in the MCU? Like, is any of these characters, or is he completely new?
I have to imagine that maybe. Well, that's the thing. We haven't seen much.
You think Strange knows who he is?
Yeah, Strange has to know who he is.
Yeah, right.
Without a doubt. That tweet about that Strange is going to be under more stress than LeBron in the 2018
That was hilarious,
playoffs.
dude. That picture was so funny, bro.
He's going to have to be putting up 40, 10, and 10 every single night just to
I think my favorite was the Ben Affleck meme, but he had the Doctor Strange cape on.
smoking the cigarette. This
Dude,
guy
he's
Wong
got
is-
some stress on him, man. He really does though, and like, in all seriousness, he's got a lot on his shoulders right now.
Wong is his Dellavedova. He's going to be averaging 14 on 39% shooting.
He's got Wanda to deal with.
Fucking disrespect Wong like that.
What do you mean? He does nothing. All he does is show up
All
and
right,
get killed.
Wong's there.
He gets
Relax.
killed in Doctor Strange, and then
Wong is
Infinity
Ray
War
Allen.
just cuts out.
I feel like Wong is Ray Allen. He's always there for the save.
He's on his prime, but he's
Yeah.
still a great spot-up shooter.
Yeah.
Clutch. Well, he was getting his ass kicked in Shang-Chi. I mean, every time... I love Wong.
Sounds like you don't.
I'm just being objective. Sorry. Get Doctor Strange more help.
What does Strange have to deal with right now? It's Kang, Wanda, and Spider-Man?
Doctor.
Yeah.
Technically, on his plate right now is that? all
Doctor.
of-
I'm sorry.
What?
It's like Doctor Strange's route to Mickey Mouse,
Mickey Mouse
super Sorcerer Supreme. Biggest competition was Wong.
Right. Trick Dormammu, because he's a big idiot.
Because I wonder if they tie up different scenarios in different movies, not just in Doctor Strange's movies.
Can't really fly. It's the cape. There's so much for them to address,
I know.
which makes me so damn excited. And I worry that we might be underwhelmed, where a lot of this may be tied up a lot more simply than we believe, a lot more easily than we're led to believe because of the way that Loki ended. You see that a lot in not necessarily the MCU, but in shows where they set up the mystery and then it's a nice little bow to clean everything up. But the fact that it's going to be nice little bow. The fact that it's going to span a few more movies and possibly a season 2 of Loki, I imagine this is going to be a reoccurring thing. And people also mention that Earth, we always talk about this. Why is Earth the central focus in this huge, ginormous universe? That's going to tie into Eternals because it looks like they picked Earth, like
Oh my God, Eternals.
the aliens meme. The Eternals came here and they helped us grow and develop. And that's kind of what's been attracting all of these cosmic events on Earth.
So he planned Eternals too? Jeez.
Right, but that's the thing. The Eternals had to have existed before he did all this. So it's like he knew of it, in a way. Like he had some knowledge of history by traveling back and forth.
I think they should have delved more into his backstory.
I think we get more of that in the future. I wonder if maybe we see a younger Kang in Loki season 2. That's where we get kind of neophyte Kang.
I'm thinking you bring in Kang the Conqueror last episode and span him through this episode.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, I saw people complaining about that they wanted more Kang than just this one episode.
Hey, but I mean, that's why you do it. You keep him hooked.
I think if you bring him in earlier, you don't have, like I said, it's not
He's
a
the big
huge
reveal.
problem with the episode, but it was teetering on the brink of exposition dumps.
Yeah. He's never referred to as Kang.
Yeah, he calls himself
Conqueror.
many names, the Conqueror.
I
So
thought
I
he
think
was going to say God. Did you?
And the casting news.
God.
Jesus, yeah. Little G.
The Messiah. I don't know. Just throwing a couple out there.
I think we will eventually see the moment in which he maybe realizes that he has to come to this decision, right? Because him existing outside of time, he can be so many different versions of himself at any moment.
But yeah, he says he's tired, but he's planning all this. He says he's done with all this, but like, what got you to this point? Like, why are you so done with the game?
And he is confirmed for Quantum Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The memes about what the fuck is Ant-Man going to do about this? They're like same thing he was going to do to Thanos. Shrink down and
Go up his butt and expand.
old reliable.
All the pictures I looked up of Kang the Conqueror, he looks huge. Is he a big boy? Or is he like the same size as Jonathan Majors?
No, he's a
Just, like,
human.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a human. And I know in the comics he eventually becomes blue.
Yeah.
I think that it would be I'd prefer them keeping him human. We've already seen the big purple villain.
He looks just
what's
like
that movie with Frankie Muniz?
Frankie Muniz.
Where Paul Giamatti jumps in the pool?
Big fat liar.
Yeah, and he comes out all blue.
That's going to be Kang. Get Paul Giamatti in the MCU, man. Love that guy.
He looks just like those, what are those? Those Titans from X-Men? The big guys with the...
Oh, the Sentinels?
With Magneto, yeah.
Okay.
He looks just like those.
Yeah. His getup.
Yeah.
Do you think that he eventually leads into an even bigger bad?
That's what I was literally just about to ask you. Is he a big enough bad to run this next phase?
I don't think they're going to do a
Marvel.
Thanos 10-year run, slow burn like that again. I like this idea of maybe
Couple
not...
here and there.
Well, yeah, like introducing him in a show, and then having him appear in Doctor Strange, and having him appear in Ant-Man. Like putting... Not rushing it, but, extending it, but still, like, having him around for... So, like, you don't have to wait 10 years to pay it off.
Yeah.
You can wait maybe 3 or 4, because he is familiar, and he's been in all these different things, even if they are different versions.
And it's almost like a more cerebral villain. Where Thanos, of course, he's a great threat, but it's you versus Thanos. Who's going to win? Who's got the more brute strength?
Yeah.
With Kang, you almost have to outwit him in a way that these characters won't necessarily know how to, except for Doctor Strange. So you imagine characters like Doctor Strange or characters like Captain Marvel, the ones who are so OP that it wouldn't even make sense for them to fight against Ultron because they snap their fingers, Ultron's gone, or Captain Marvel just like turns them into a can of tinfoil. I don't know.
Wait, but doesn't this Kang? Isn't he the new? This Kang is the new fucking the new guy in the time, no? So he knows everything.
What do you mean?
Isn't he writing Destiny? This new Kang the Conqueror. I don't get how you beat him if he's writing Destiny now.
That's the hard part.
Well, it's not even that he's writing
it's gonna be
Destiny.
easy.
These new Kangs, the TVA doesn't exist anymore. So it's not that he's writing Destiny. It does. He's ruling everything. He's now the ruler.
Our Loki went back to the TVA where Kang the Conqueror is ruling.
Okay, yeah. He's still okay. So he's writing Destiny, but he's also, I guess,
He's the OP.
He's managing it, mostly.
yeah. It's more.
But if everything
The
strays
trains are
off,
running on
then
time.
it's hard to, like, control it. If
Well,
there's so many different events going on at once and straying off that path, that's when things get all muddled. And that's what causes destruction, or what the Kang we saw was afraid of, or he warned against.
Yeah, there's now an infinite amount of Kangs. That's the idea with the sacred timeline, is that when someone branches off, that timeline is wiped out.
Okay.
That's why Sylvie or Alligator Loki can't be sent back, because that just doesn't exist. They would have to be sent back to the sacred timeline in which they don't belong because there are variants.
Okay.
Because they deviated from the course that Kang had set up. Now, Alligator Loki can do whatever he did, and that universe is still going strong.
Yeah.
Or Loki can kill Thor. Kid Loki can kill Thor in his universe, and that's just how it is. He continues on living. The TVA is not going to show up knocking on his door. So you have all these possibilities now. And in all of these different realities, I guess there's a different Kang, some more violent than others. Which is just mind-blowing, right? You can barely wrap your head around it.
Now I can't.
Well,
I was
Avengers
pretty
5
content until this review. No,
You mentioned the 10-year build-up, and you kind of needed that for Thanos because it worked. Look how much money those movies made. They were such these cultural events. It's been, what? It's going to be 4, 5, maybe 6 years between Avengers movies because they haven't announced Avengers 5. We don't have a lineup. We don't have a director.
no team. There's no
Yeah.
Avengers team even after all these shows.
So speeding up the big bad and involving him more in these movies kind of makes sense because I think Avengers 5 is going to be huge, especially with this time between it, because they're clearly not rushing it, because Avengers movies are usually 3 years, and it looks like it's going to be double that.
Yeah, and we're 100% getting Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, and Robert Downey again.
Yeah. I
It's
guess, yeah.
With the new timeline.
Yeah, now with this, 100%.
I could have sworn I saw that Hugh Jackman was trying to come back. I don't know if it was like a fake post that I read, but I was really scrolling on the internet and I saw that Hugh Jackman was trying to come back to play Logan.
Jackman.
I said Jackman.
They
I said Jackson.
Yeah.
that
Carving people up.
I could have sworn I saw that Hugh Jackman was trying to come back and play Logan.
He was teasing fans a bit. He put the claws up on his story,
Yeah.
but somebody said that it was just a tribute to Richard Donner, who was a producer on that first X-Men movie.
Give me a break. You
And
can't do
had
that.
Yeah, no, what an asshole, right? And then he threw up a picture of him and Feige.
Yeah.
Yeah, great tribute
All right, so
to
I did
Donner.
see it. All right, so it wasn't like I was like singing things.
Recipes, Richard Donner. That's possible now. That's what they can do. And you said bringing back Robert Downey Jr.
Too much money, man.
It's a lot of money, but I would also hate it because I really just I was so happy he didn't appear in Black Widow for that reason. I want that to be the lasting image. I am Iron Man, snap, dies. It would be great to have him back. I think it's going to happen. Chris
you miss
Evans
him?
more so.
Don't you miss him?
I miss him, but that ending was just so poignant, and there's something to be said about, 50 years from now, that's the last time we saw him as Iron Man. Such an iconic role. Infinity War has a lot of that. Stan Lee, what are the chances that his final cameo is Endgame? It's tragic that we lost Chadwick Boseman, but he's going to be known forever as the Black Panther in the Infinity Saga. I just want to leave it alone, but this opens the door for them to not do that. I think the better route is the Fox stuff. That's the better route.
So we talked about, I mean, this is more of a review, but we've went on a tangent, so I'm going to continue this tangent.
We really did. veer off a
When
little bit.
we, speaking of like Chadwick Boseman, and they said he's never going to, they're going to retire the role of Black Panther, do you think they would do something where like a variant and it's just a different actor and explain it that way?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them to do that though.
Listen, I
Only
think
if it's Michael B. Jordan. It's the only way I'll take a Black Panther.
that could be, I could get on board with that.
Me too.
I think it is a mistake.
Explaining like it's not our Black Panther, it's not the Sacred Timelines one that we watch, but it's a different variant of T'Challa.
And Angela Bassett had just mentioned that Black Panther was going under its 5th rewrite. So maybe they got word from the Loki writers like, hey, we're doing this if you want to, bring in a variant. I think they did make a mistake by not recasting because I think there is a way to honor that role while also honoring Chadwick Boseman. Like I said, the Infinity Saga could just be seen as its own thing at this point. But yeah, no, that's definitely a route that they can go.
I'll tell you what, these Disney shows are hitting a lot harder than I thought they were going to hit.
Well,
They're putting a big dent.
there's a
MCU.
universe with mutants.
Yeah.
There's a multiverse where Fox didn't own the properties for the X-Men.
Oh, man.
Well, isn't Deadpool part of the MCU now, officially?
Yeah, they had that video with him and Korg.
Yeah.
Deadpool is like Kang, he kind of just exists outside of time. I would take a Deadpool Korg movie.
Oh my god,
course.
that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Korg is played by Taika, right?
Yeah. That'd be great.
So yeah, that's
There's Loki.
the finale of Loki.
Hey,
Hey man, there's a lot to
It did a lot.
speculate.
I know, yeah. That's
It
the
did a
thing.
lot.
That's what it. Even if you didn't like the ending or like the show, the questions and thoughts it provokes in terms of the future of the MCU is undeniable. And
Exactly. Like the way it ended, it wrapped everything up nice, but it raised a whole bunch of different questions. But it wrapped up the season nice.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hope Feige. We've trusted him up until this point. Maybe he's biting off a little more than he could chew.
I doubt it.
He's wearing too many hats. He's used to just wearing the one hat.
Takes off that hat. It's another hat.
Yeah,
It's the sunglasses.
Mhm.
Don't sleep on the Feigster.
I'm not.
It sounded like you were just sleeping.
I'm just
I had to-
saying.
I had to nudge you there. But
You were
It's-
nodding off.
It's a lot.
You just worked a hard day and you were nodding off on the road.
I'm just saying.
Someone just gave you a nice little beep because you were veering off.
It's a lot to handle. I couldn't do it. I still don't even know what's going on, really. If you ask me to explain it, I still have a lot of uncertainties. But
But don't you understand? But you do understand it though, right?
I get the
It's
gist.
it's weird how it's so complicated.
But I
like,
pretzel
You
myself.
kind of get it.
yes, that's been the best part of this show is that it opens the avenues for them to get a bit more ambitious without it being so confusing. I enjoyed the Endgame's definition of time travel for that reason, because it wasn't so hard to think about. It kind of it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. And that's the perfect area to operate in when you're dealing with time travel.
If you can go back to any time.
I just
where
thought of
you're
a
going.
meme. It's like the TVA waiting for, like when Hulk takes the Infinity Stone, and she shows that if you don't bring it back, it's going to cause our timeline to go basically become a variant timeline. So it's like the TVA waiting for Hulk to get back. I don't know. I just put it in my head. I don't have time to workshop it.
I don't know where you were going with it.
I pictured Mobius. I was going to Photoshop him in there. It's just a work in progress.
I think that's the first time that you've said something
Incoherent.
It's fucking hot in here.
All right, wait. If you can go to any timeline, where are you going?
What do you mean?
Like anywhere in time, like you know how
The timeline where I'm LeBron.
It's never.
Right.
That's not a.
not
That's
a
not
timeline. I'm saying
yeah.
anywhere in time in our timeline. Where are you going?
They'll prune the real you for that. They ain't letting that happen.
Future.
How long?
When
in
the Knicks
future?
win the chip, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to
2000.
be there?
Well, when are we getting Zion? Like 2028. We'll take a nice little detour.
I don't know why I'm like obsessed with George Washington right now. I'm going back to when
You having a
George.
George Washington phase?
Yeah.
It's fun. Top 3 president.
I would go back
Back
there
then, it's
and
crazy.
contribute nothing.
You know, realistically, back then you just existed. You just survived.
It's like I could invent a car if I knew how a car worked, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna invent the iPhone.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't know math.
I don't know any algorithms.
A lot of good performances throughout this show, though. Any standouts for you guys? Anybody you would say had the best performance? A lot of people have been praising Sophia Di Martino as her.
She grew on me, but I was very shocked with how good Owen Wilson was in this. I thought he was gonna be a fish out of water, but he slid right in there.
Fit right in, man.
Yeah.
Even when he did have to hit those emotional beats, he was very convincing.
Yeah, I'd say him, and I think the two standouts in terms of like just being in one episode and stealing the show, Richard E. Grant and Jonathan Majors. I mean, with Tom Hiddleston, we know he could play the role well, but we've talked about his a couple times. His line delivery wasn't all there, I feel like, but he still hit the emotional points. And when he was full Loki, he did a great job. So I think he also did a good job. But I think the standouts, since we already kind of know what he is as that character, the new characters that came in really made the show what it was.
If I had to watch him bend down and swing his head back up one more time, I was gonna freak out.
That's his superhero pose. He loves whipping that hair, man. They know how to
Whips it back, puffs his chest.
They know how to get you.
Oh, you know what? We didn't see a lot of his magic though. That's one thing I can say that I was pretty upset about. Is that we didn't get a lot of him doing like any kind of sorcery or any of his.
He needs to go
what
to
he
magic
does.
school.
Yeah, right.
He needs to take a few summers with Doctor Strange and sharpen those things up, because one moment he's Darth Vader and the next he's getting punked by a janitor.
But it'd be nice. That's what I don't know, man. I want like the realist Loki, but it's like, is that really him though, or is he really just always been playing a game? You know, like is he a good guy? Because I would love for him to get stronger, like you said. But there's zero chance Strange is going to like teach him where he can learn anywhere.
I think we'll see more of that in season 2. I think we'll see him continue this journey into becoming maybe not a hero, but as close as a hero as he can get.
So yeah, oh fuck. No, yeah, and I can't wait for season 2. Well, I just can't see what happens next. Coming off all these Disney Plus shows, just seeing what happens next within the films, I think is just going to be. I don't know. I'm ready for him. But as for Loki, I think it was a great 6-episode series, and I'm very interested to see where that character goes next. Our main Loki within his next movies. But yeah, I think we all agree. Was it top 3 MCU Disney Plus show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 3.
Top 3? Okay.
Wait a minute.
There only is 3.
Yeah, you guys are quick.
Oh, it's Wanda, Loki, and Falcon right now. And Mando's at number 1. 1-1.
Mando's not in the MCU.
Yeah, it's 1-1 though.
Well, now Luke Skywalker could show up to save the day in an Avengers movie.
That's the timeline I want to see.
Ruin the whole thing.
You think Patton Oswalt's timeline from Parks and Rec exists?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
Definitely
does. Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Beau says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.